Hi guys, Tech here, and I wanted to do a very brief look Bladefall Blade Blast. Before we get into it, if you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to comment down below. I will also be attaching my email address, just in case you're struggling with this build in particular. Feel free to send me your path of building, as well as what specific difficulty you're having, and I'll take a look at it and see if maybe we can brainstorm and get it to work a little bit better for you. The other thing I would like to mention is please consider subscribing and liking the video. It really does help me grow, and I genuinely appreciate all the support I've been given so far. Anyway, let's get into the video. Alright, so we're going to do just a typical T14 map. I did make a couple of changes based on some feedback. I noticed that there were several people that were talking about struggling with mana issues in particular. So I went ahead and added a life tap to the build. That way there's a little bit more sustain as far as the actual ability to keep casting. You'll have a little bit more sustainability and a little bit higher cast speed, which should result in a higher overall DPS. Now, if you check the path of building and you see that the bladefall damage is very low, that is because I just flipped it a few minutes before recording this, and so it is leveling up with 20% quality on it, because I would like to have it quality that does increase its cast speed, which does increase our clear speed. But as of right now, it's going to be doing a little bit on the low side of DPS. Here in just a moment, I will have the panel pulled up, which will show our endurance charges as well as our power charges, so you can see the defenses and the offense both. Kind of wait until I hit full endurance charges here, kind of show that part off. And so you can see we're at like 2800 armor with 1 flask up, 90% mitigation. And then I'm going to scroll over so you can see where we're at with Blade Blast without charges, and then here in just a second with full charges. That way you just kind of get an idea of what I am actually currently at, so you can kind of compare and contrast accordingly. The other thing to kind of note with this is the version that I have is a little bit more on the tanky side and a little bit less on the overall DPS side. And that's just because I found that this league in particular is very demanding on two things: either A, spell suppression, or B, a hard-coded physical resistance. So armor is very strong, spell suppression is very strong this league, and so I really wanted to have one of the two of those maxed out. And since this character is on the far right hand side of the tree, it basically rules out spell suppression, so we went with armor. Now I do have another character that does have more armor than this character does, and also has spell suppression, and it has significantly less life. And I will say that that character does feel tankier in general than this character does, just in case you're kind of wondering where the line is regarding spell suppression and armor and which is better. Both are better than one or the other, but if you have to deal with one or the other, you just kind of have to deal with one or the other. It's not ideal, but it's just kind of the way it is. Specifically with armor, I don't know if there's a way to hit armor cap without being jug and still getting spell suppression in a reasonable amount. Possibly is Raider, but then you're not going to get armor, you're just going to go with pure evasion spell suppression, which also seems fine until you're dead. So it's gonna work most of the time, but when the evasion part doesn't work, you're probably dead with the amount of damage that's coming out. But that's kind of the same with most builds right now. Most builds are either so tanky they do very little damage, or they deal a whole lot of damage and they're not very tanky. There's very few builds that are very tanky and do a very significant amount of damage. And that's probably why I have kind of gravitated towards Lightning Strike and been playing Lightning Strike a lot more than the other builds, is it has a very unique combination of defenses and damage, and I really enjoy that kind of a playstyle personally. If you're all about the damage, I get it. If you're all about the survivability, I get it. I'm kind of more in the middle where it's like I really like both, but I also don't want to die 10 times a map, because there's only 6 portals, so a reasonable risk on my side. I don't mind dying, I just think you want to try to mitigate it. In just a second, I'm also going to go over like the actual gems in those links. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment down below. All right, as far as gems, you'll see life tap, awaken added fire, melee focus. And so kind of the thing with this iteration specifically is it is a little bit less damage, but it is a little bit more sustain. So if you are struggling with mana sustain specifically, try slotting in life tap. The other thing is I made a choice here that I probably won't make in the future, which is currently I have added fire in my main links, and I probably won't have that once I get my awaken fire pin up to level 5. And the reason for that is the exposure is really good, and it lets us drop out of Wave of Conviction in our cast when damage taken setup. And I kind of path here the next couple of nodes that I'm going to get, which is Constitution, Iron Will. But anyway, I hope this helps. I hope that... Thank you very much for watching the update to Bladefall Blade Blast. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have an excellent time in Scourge. And please don't forget to like and subscribe. You have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.